Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone out there. We are so excited to have you join us today. My name is Maggie Nielsen. I'm a partner at Purse Strings. We're all about providing financial education for women. That's why we have some of these great lunch and learns or Money Mondays. And so it's all about education, no product pushing. And then if you need a professional to put things in transition, we have great professionals like Dr. Noor over here to help you along the way. So we have, realtors, attorneys, lenders, FAs, whatever you're really looking for. And today we have Dr. Noor who's going to talk with us today, which you have kind of an interesting title I haven't really heard of before until I met you, with is more of a healthcare advisor, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. So we're going to kind of dive into that and what that is and what you do and, why you would be used. But before we jump in, I'd love if, you could just introduce yourself to the audience and give them a little info about yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much, Maggie. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited and happy to be here. So I'm Noor, everyone, and I work in the health insurance space. So what a healthcare advisor is someone who helps you kind of gauge where you are in your health status and your medical status, and then it helps place you in the most appropriate health insurance plan. So we've got two key factors in play here. We've got your medical side and the financial side. And my role is really just to do an evaluation of both and propose the best health insurance plan for you.
That's awesome because every time I hear about health insurance, it's always kind of over my head. And, being an entrepreneur myself, I don't have health insurance through family or through work or anything else. So I know I even used your services to help me find health insurance. But it's hard to navigate if you don't have a job or don't have a spouse that really can help you with that. So just to kind of start, who are some of the kind of main people you see come to you and using your services?
Yeah, I talk to so many people from so many different backgrounds all the time, but especially now in the trend that we're on right now with the Great Resignation, I see a lot of people who are leaving the corporate workforce to pursue a journey of entrepreneurship, to pursue their passion project, and they really are so clueless about health insurance. They have no idea what to do about that, and that's where I can really come in to help. And there's different stages of your business, right? If you're just
Mhm.
starting out and you're lower income and you might qualify for a government subsidy, maybe a government plan would be good for that time. But if you're, settled in your business and you're growing really, really fast and you're thinking of onboarding and hiring on some help, that picture looks very, very different too. And maybe a private plan would be better at that time. So those are some of the situations where I can come in and help assess that stage of your business and your risk medically and propose a health insurance plan and solution.
Awesome. Yeah, because I didn't even know sometimes there was past like Obamacare, or whatever it's technically called. A lot of people don't know how to even get their hands on these private plans. Um, and so what does the process kind of look like when working with you?
Yeah, it's super duper simple, Maggie. And I know you've been through this, so you have an idea. So it all starts with a conversation, and I make that conversation really, really easy. It's a 15-minute free consultation where I'm going to ask you a few key questions. Where do you live? Approximately how much money do you expect to make? And do you have anything that's really important to you to be covered on a health insurance plan? I think one thing people forget a lot is, and I get this a question is asked to me a lot, is what's the best health insurance company? And it's really not about the company at all. It's really about what is important to you to get covered. So once I have that conversation with you and I understand where you are, what your needs are, what your budget is, I'm going to then make a recommendation. Then we have one other call, and where we go over that recommended plan with you in depth. I make sure I answer your questions. You love the plan. You understand how to use it. You know what the limitations are, so you don't go using it for something it's not going to cover and you get surprise medical bills. Once you love it, we then submit an application and get you on the plan, and the onboarding is done. So it's just two calls, and in 1 hour of your time, you never have to worry about health insurance again, because once I write your policy, you have me kind of as your BFF who's always guiding you to maximize the use of your policy. So if anything happens to you on that plan, or you have a claims question or a customer service issue, I'll be doing all of that heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I was like, oh, sweet. So I don't have to wade through these 60 papers of like thin, small print, and understand what's going on if I broke my leg. I was like, there's someone to call, which like 100%, that
Yeah.
makes it 1,000 times better.
Yep.
Um, and so how did you get to doing this specialty? It's very unique. What's kind of the path that got you here?
Yeah, it's not something that I woke up and wanted to do. I've always been in medicine my whole life. Ever since I was a little girl, I was heavily influenced by my grandfather, who was an anesthesiologist, and I just wanted to grow up and be a doctor just like him. And everyone in my family had that same expectation of me, and I did. I went to medical school right out of high school. I did a 6-year accelerated medical program. I was performing C-sections and surgeries when I was 21 years old and
Wow.
breaking records. So I had a really upward trajectory medical career. But this was back in my home country in Bangladesh, where I'm from. So after I finished my training and I came back to the States, I hit a wall. I was professionally deadlocked because I needed to pass my licensing exams in order to practice medicine here. And that was
Mm,
a really big struggle for me. I was mentally, struggling. I was challenged. I was not making enough money. I went from being like a superstar surgeon to being like nothing, to be a high school graduate on paper in the
mm.
States. And that was really, really hard for me. So I really needed a way to rebuild myself. And when this opportunity presented itself to me, I thought that I'm going to make the best of it. I got to make this work. And it was a bit of a learning curve for me as well, because I came from a country where there is no health insurance system. It's pay per service. So
Right.
anyways, I did what I had to do, and I passed the test, and I figured out a way to marry my clinical background and education to health insurance with these medically underwritten policies. And when I started, building a brand around who I am, my core values, I just started having a lot of fun with it.
That's a lot of fun. And yeah, at least you understand all the jargon that's in there and what people's problems are in English and what they are in medical terms and kind of decipher through some of that. And so I know that's kind of, one of the questions of when we went through, getting the insurance is understanding what medical needs, you have now. And because it's kind of the risk of being insured, always what insurance is will they have to kind of pay out on you, correct?
Yes, yes. It's insurance is all about risk. If I could sum up insurance in one word, it's risk. And what we're
Hmm.
really doing is evaluating your risk and putting you in a position where we're leveraging the healthcare system that you're in and your current position and getting you on the best plan. And that's really where I use my expertise. I also have a public health degree in global healthcare systems, so I understand healthcare systems on a scientific level. And I'm not really here trying to say we're gonna beat the man or beat the system. Honestly, I really don't think we can do that single-handedly. But because of my deep understanding of the system, what I can do is leverage your position and help you be in the best spot possible. And that can change, Maggie. The plan that you have right now might not be the same as the one you have next year when you're,
Right.
trying to build a family and when you have a major medical issue. Maybe we need to evaluate and change that. So that's something I also encourage people to keep in mind is be dynamic. Just because you've been on a health insurance plan forever doesn't mean there aren't new products out there, or just different situations that may allow you to change your plan.
And so when do you recommend meeting, with someone like you to assess your plan or adjust your plan or just, just to check in?
All the time, anytime. You could do like an annual kind of review mentally, but if nothing has changed in your either medical status or you've moved or a life event, you
Hmm.
might not need to. But I would say when there's a change in your medical needs, that's a good time to talk. Like you're planning to have a baby or you have a surgery coming up, you want to make sure your plan's going to cover it, or just prepare. Like I know when I was, I got pregnant and I was having my baby, I really looked deep into my policy. Like, okay, how much am I gonna have to pay for this baby? What's the maternity deductible?
It's
What's my max out of pocket?
expensive.
Yeah, it can be expensive, and especially if things go wrong and you're not planning for it, you need to know what is my max out of pocket, and am I financially prepared to pay that max out of pocket in case things really do go south.
Yeah, that's very important. Very important. And there's something else from that point that I wanted to ask you about. Do you find it, we talk a lot about, life insurance or long-term care and disability, and a lot of that kind of goes out the window once you have some major health issue because you're more likely to take that insurance money or need it. Do you find that to be an issue when working with clients that, there's not really an option if you have had a health issue?
It just depends. So if you've had a major pre-existing condition, there's plans such as the Marketplace or Obamacare that they will take on that risk. They're designed to
Mhm.
take on that risk. Now, the quality of the plans might go down a little bit because you're taking on so much risk. So you might have a higher deductible, a smaller network. So yeah, when I come across those clients, I'll just advise accordingly. Like if you have a prior pre-existing condition, let's get you on a plan that's gonna cover that and accept that.
Right. That sounds great. That sounds
Yeah.
great. And so just to really have someone wade through all this information with you and find, what best works for you and your family. And so can you insure families as well as just individuals?
Yeah, absolutely. I do individuals, families, if you're a solopreneur of one, single member LLC, if you're growing and thinking of hiring on your first employee, and health insurance is important for everyone, guys. We just don't realize that when we're talking about talent and hiring and recruiting, it's a question that determines people's dreams and futures. People don't leave their jobs to pursue their dreams because of health insurance. So if you want that talent, if you want to hire someone, offering them health insurance could be the make or break decision that makes them join your team or not. And if you,
Mhm.
as an employer, if you're not prepared to pay for that insurance premium, that's okay. You can just either connect them to me and they can just have an individual policy. Maybe they're okay to pay for it, but they just don't know what to do because they've always had a corporate role. You can pay for 50% of it. You can give them a stipend or credit and say, hey, here's a couple of $100 to go towards your premium. And that can make all the difference.
Those are all such great tips to have because, yeah, I know a lot of people who stay in corporate just because there is healthcare benefits, and sometimes those are worth it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not. And so I know, like you said, about the Great Resignation, and a lot of women are staying at home or doing their own businesses or trying their own thing. So it can be a great way to support yourself, and have that health insurance and all that coverage you need, because you also don't want to take huge risk as a solopreneur. You don't want to have like the least amount of coverage, because that's also going to do you no good.
Yeah, and that's great that you said that, Maggie. It's that balance of like over-insuring and under-insuring. And I think it's especially important in health insurance because it's different from like home insurance and auto insurance and other types of insurance, right? Health insurance is something you really want to make sure that you are empowered to use, that you can use, that you feel comfortable using, and you're not afraid to use. So under-insuring is definitely not good because then you can go to medical bankruptcy.
Hmm.
61% of Americans' debt is actually medical bankruptcy, which is so, so,
Wow.
so sad. I recently just talked to did an interview with CNBC, and we talked about why do Americans have debt whether they have insurance or not. So basically, uninsured and insured Americans have medical debt. Why is that? And it's really because you're on the wrong plan. A lot of people just take the lowest premium with the highest deductible. That's not really serving you, like for yourself,
Mhm.
Maggie. If you're a young, healthy individual and you've got a $10,000 deductible plan, what are the chances that you're going to spend $10,000 a year in medical costs?
I sure hope
Barely.
not.
Yeah, exactly. Like very unlikely on an average year, right? So now you are, even though you are insured, you're still in a pool of people who have medical debt because when you
Hmm.
go to use your policy, you're still coming out of pocket to try in an attempt to meet your deductible. So those are some of the things, when we evaluate risk is what is the balance between underinsuring and overinsuring? We don't want either.
Right. And that's in, like you said, in all these different kinds of insurance companies, it's a huge thing women do is underinsure themselves, which can be easily just as a waste of money because, then you're paying all these bills later. And so it's like, if I'm going to pay something every month, you want to make sure it's covered. You want to make sure it's doing good for you and what you actually need, which is so great having someone help you with that. Because again, the jargon in there is unreal.
Yeah.
And so when you work with people, how are you compensated, or what is your service fee?
Right. So for that consultation, it cost me absolutely nothing. It costs you absolutely nothing to get that advice. If I advise you a plan and I can actually write your policy, so I'm licensed to work in 34 different states, there's a one-time booking fee of $100 to do that appointment with me. However, I do refund you 50% of that if I'm successfully able to write you a policy and get you approved in 48 hours. And for any reason I cannot help you or I can't write your plan, you get 100% refunded. So it's like a no risk guarantee to work with me.
You can't complain there. Can't complain
Nope.
at all.
Nope.
And so, yeah, you cover most of the country, which is awesome. And so people can just reach out and kind of give you that quick 15 minutes. And you can, yeah, I was surprised how fast it works, 48 hours. Most people don't work that fast. And so it was amazing just to have that turnaround and know that you have that coverage as well, which is all really important. Do you have any other advice today that you would like to make sure that our communities of women know about?
Yeah, I would just, I really want to encourage everyone to just have a conversation with me. If you're thinking like, oh, I don't need to do this because I already have health insurance, that's wonderful. I just want to make sure you are aware of all your options. And even if we can get you a premium that's $50 less than what you're paying right now, it's worth it, right, Maggie?
Yeah.
That's $50 that we can put towards so many different things,
I
investing
mean,
in your
that's
financial
$600 a
future.
year to just strip
Yeah.
out. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. So do that evaluation mentally, just pay attention. Pay attention to what you're paying. I know, and I talk to a lot of people like, oh, what are you paying right now for health insurance? And a lot of people have no idea. And that
Mhm.
is so key because how can I know if I'm helping you, saving you money, or putting you in a worse spot, increasing your premiums if I don't know what you're on right now? So it's important to know what you have right now. Do that mental evaluation. Have a conversation with me just to see if there's anything that we can do, or for me to tell you, you know what, Maggie, you're on a really good health insurance plan. Stay there for as long as you can. To get
Right.
that advice and confidence and assurance from a professional alone is empowering, right?
Hmm. Very much so. I mean, that way you just know you're secure. You know you did everything right, which is kind of like yay.
Yeah,
But that you are protected, which is so important. And yeah, sometimes you don't know what you don't know out there, and so you think you might be getting a good deal, and you think you might be covered for what you need, but you might not be. So you might as well just ask because it
that's
never
right.
hurts to ask.
That's right.
And so, what's the best way for people to contact you or reach out to you to set up a call?
Yeah, so I make it super duper easy. I'm active on social, so you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram. If you guys go on my website, drnoorhealth.com, that's DRNOOR, health, HEALTH.com, you'll see a way to contact me is to book a call on my calendar. That's honestly going to be the best way. Just book that free 15-minute consultation. It'll give me the information that I need to do some research to prepare for our call. And then I'll let you know if you're in a good spot or if we can help you out by saving you money or getting you better coverage, or in general just opening your eyes to creative options and new products and plans that you may not have known existed.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on today and sharing all this knowledge. I know this is something we don't really hear about a lot and don't really know that there are a lot of professionals who do this and can help you wade through this noise. So I always just wanted to show this expertise because it is so unique. So I appreciate you coming on today. And yeah, everyone reach out when you have your questions. And I hope everyone else has a great week. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for your time.
Of course. Bye-bye.
Bye.